Now, if you found this video, you are looking to compare the cost of living in Naples, Florida versus Fort Myers, Florida, and there is a substantial difference. We're gonna dive into that, and some of the things that we're gonna talk about may actually surprise you. So I've lived here in Southwest Florida for over 18 years, going on 19 years at this point, and I have been in real estate the entire time that I've been here in Southwest Florida. So if you've watched my channel, you've probably come to understand a lot of the real estate differences when it comes to pricing and cost of living between Naples and Fort Myers. But to give you just a very quick glimpse, if we look at the median price of a home in Naples, that is $780,000 for a single family home. Now, the median price for a single family home in Lee County, Fort Myers, Florida, is actually $382,900. So literally right there and there alone, we can see that the median price is more than double to be in Naples versus Fort Myers. Now, there are other components to this that we're going to explore, because let's assume that you want to purchase a home in Naples and you want to understand what other differences there are. We'll get into the fine detail now. So as we go through this list, you will find that most things are actually more expensive in Naples, even though geographically speaking, Naples is only about 30 miles from Fort Myers. But there is a big difference, because if we have a more affluent population, then places, the rents are going to be higher, the other costs, the trickle-down effect is going to exist. And so that is something to absolutely be aware of. And one of those things that we're going to talk about is food. So food is generally more expensive in Naples than Fort Myers. We've got a resource called Numbeo. If you go to numbeo.com, you can see a list of everything here. But if we're talking about an inexpensive meal, on average, you're going to be paying 19.4% more in Naples than you would be in Fort Myers, Florida. Now, that doesn't stop there. It says beer prices are actually more expensive in Naples. So if you're a beer drinker, Fort Myers might be more your, more your area, and it's actually 40% more is what they're saying that the cost of beer is, which is seemingly crazy, but I can understand where that number comes from, having drank beer in both Fort Myers and Naples, Florida. Now, as we continue on the food route, as we get into more of our normal groceries, most grocery items are slightly more in Naples than they are going to be in Fort Myers. And typically that comes down to some of the other considerations like the rent, the stores have to pay a higher rent, etc. There are some things that are less expensive. Now, here's the deal. Both Fort Myers and Naples have the types of stores like the Trader Joe's, the Aldi, that you can get a more affordable groceries. And by the way, any of the locations in Florida charge no state sales tax or no sales tax on groceries, which is an amazing, that's an amazing thing coming from the Midwest where I came from. You paid sales tax on everything, including your apples, milk, bananas, didn't matter. You paid sales tax in Florida. You don't do that here. Now, when it comes to transportation, it is saying that actually there's about a 1% difference in gas prices in Naples versus Fort Myers. That's pretty negligible. There's not a lot of public transportation options in both cities. That's not really our strong suit. So it is very heavily car dependent. So you will want to make sure that you have a vehicle to get around Southwest Florida. There are a few locations where you could get away with walking, but you're typically going to either be on the beach or at a place like Mercado. If you want to live in a more urban type of an environment, that is an option as well. Now, as we look at electricity, there's actually a difference in the other direction. So Fort Myers has a 19.5% higher utilities than what Naples have, according to numbeo.com. That's a really interesting statistic. Generally speaking, we've got the same climate. So the summertime, that's going to be hotter, more humid. Air conditioners are going to run longer. That's typically where the majority of our electrical expense comes, is in form of air conditioning. But also, if you decide that you want to have a pool in your home, you will have some usage with the pool pump, running the filter, etc. And so these are just some considerations, but it is a win in the side of Fort Myers from a utility perspective. Now this is an interesting one. So fitness clubs, if you belong to a gym, you can expect to pay 65.7% more in Naples than you would in Fort Myers. Now why would that be? Well, Naples is a more seasonal area than Fort Myers is. Fort Myers has a lot more annual residents that live here, and so that's just function of that, right? So when the snowbirds come down, there's a shorter season. The gyms, they need to produce more money. They're going to charge higher rates at that point. Now, a lot of people decide, especially if this is a snowbird or retirement residence for you, that you're going to be in a community where you have those types of amenities on site. So you'll have the fitness facility, you'll have the trainers, resort style pool, etc. And so if that's the case, then it's not as important about a separate membership. But if you're into that thing and you don't want to live in an HOA community, then you would want to understand that stat. Now on this source of information, they also get into the rent differences, and they're talking about rent in the city center. And so if we're looking at a 1-bedroom in downtown Fort Myers, that's roughly $1,900 according to Numbeo that you could expect to pay. Now in Naples, that's $2,900 if you're looking to be in downtown Naples, in Old Naples. And so that's 52% higher. So not only if you're looking to purchase are we looking at a higher amount, but if you're looking to rent in the city center, you can expect that to be quite a bit higher as well. Now, if you are still working and you are looking to get a job, on average, you can expect to earn 12.7% more on an annual basis than if you lived or worked in Fort Myers. And so that's an important component in all of this. But is that enough to bridge the gap on the higher cost of living in Naples? And now all of this put into context is there's a bigger picture here. And at the end of the day, it also comes down to lifestyle. So Naples has the best geographic location when it comes to proximity to the beach, the amount of beaches, and in general, you're gonna have nicer restaurants and just a more well-manicured life. And so if that's what you're looking for and you're willing to pay the price for it, then Naples is probably the best bet for what you're looking for. If you're more budget conscious or you are at a spot where you wanna be able to go out to dinner and not break the bank every single time, then Fort Myers could potentially be a better option. Now, we have been speaking in general terms here. There are certainly some nicer, higher end areas of Fort Myers, and there are some more affordable areas of Naples. And so I want to make sure that in the context of this, you understand that we're speaking in generalities and it's not just, it's just higher across the board, because that's not necessarily the case. So if you are looking to move to the Naples or Fort Myers area, me and my team would be honored to be able to have a conversation with you about that transition, and we can get more into the pros and cons of the different areas here in Southwest Florida. All of our information will be in the description and comments below, and as always, have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to talk to you soon.